Earlier, I was able to sit down with Michael Pachter and talk to him all about the Activision Blizzard case and the current status of it. One of the topics were all about Sony and how this would impact the PlayStation brand and consumers in the near future. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Is the deal going to go through? We've seen a lot from the... Okay.
Yes, going through.
Yeah.
Happening.
So they still have the roadblock of the CMA. You seem very confident. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, the CMA is, they have jurisdiction over the UK only. And just to define the UK, there's an island called Great Britain that consists of England, Wales, and Scotland. They're all part of the United Kingdom. And then the northern tip of the island of Ireland is called Northern Ireland. That's also part of the UK. So just the island of Great Britain and the northern part of Ireland is under the CMA's jurisdiction. So if the CMA says the deal can't go through because we're concerned that Microsoft will put Call of Duty on Game Pass, then Microsoft will say, fine, we'll form an independent entity and we'll name it Activision Blizzard UK PLC. PLC is their way of saying incorporated. Mm-hmm. And I think it's publicly listed corporation. And Activision Blizzard UK PLC will run the business under the status quo. Nothing will change while we litigate the CMA's block of the deal. So we're going to close the deal. You guys can just right off if you think you can stop us from closing the deal. But we're going to respect your law, and we're going to maintain the status quo until we win in court, because we're going to win. And if we don't win, then we will actually divest of Activision Blizzard UK PLC. We'll spin it off to our shareholders and let that thing run as an independent entity, and you can regulate that, and don't worry about it. And, it won't be able to do anything with Call of Duty. So that's the easy solution. Remember that the CMA had about, 30 or 40 pages of objections. What they boiled down to is, if Microsoft were to change the status quo, meaning if Microsoft were to stop supporting PlayStation, that would be bad for consumers. Agreed. 100%. That's right. Microsoft has said since literally the day after they announced the deal, we will continue to support PlayStation. As part of this settlement, they've already offered up a 10-year contract with Sony to continue to support PlayStation, which Sony rejected because Sony are a bunch of jerks. But the fact is, no one can say you've got to support PlayStation 5 for the next 50 years. The PlayStation 5 will be defunct by 2033. So a 10-year contract is fine. It'll take care of the PlayStation 5. Sony has no right to expect that Activision would support the PlayStation 6 because we don't even know what it is. It's entirely possible the PS6 costs $10,000, per unit and requires, processing speed where a game would cost $500 million to make, and no one would ever do it. I don't think Sony's that stupid, but Microsoft can't commit to support something that they don't know what it is. So there's no regulator that says you have to support that, because you never know what it's going to be. So bottom line is, the status quo is they support the PlayStation 5. Sony made some noise about, but if you put Activision titles on Game Pass, that would hurt PS Now. Wait a minute. Or PS Plus. Sorry, they changed the name.
Yeah.
PS Plus. PS Plus doesn't have any new release games and doesn't have anything from Activision. It might have like Crash Bandicoot from 1999, I don't know, or Spyro the Dragon or whatever. So the reason that the CMA can't really make this stick is that the CMA didn't block the Amazon acquisition of MGM Movies. And they didn't block the Disney acquisition of Fox Movies and TV. And they could have, but they didn't say a word. Why did Amazon buy MGM? To put the content on Freevee and on Amazon Prime Video. Mm-hmm. Why did Disney buy Fox? To put the content on Disney Plus. Like The Simpsons and Family Guy are on there right now. And the CMA said nothing about that. Is that unfair to Netflix? Absolutely, it's unfair to Netflix. Did Netflix complain? No, because they're not a bunch of big babies.
If you like this interview and you're one of the 50% of people who are not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell so that you do not miss any time that I post. Now, back to the interview.
The EU did something very clever. They moved their decision date to one day before the CMA's decision date.
Yeah.
And so April 25th. And then they leaked out that we're leaning toward approving the deal. And they leaked out, they are Microsoft, that Microsoft is accommodating all of our requests. So how is it that the EU says on April 25th, there's no competitive issues whatsoever, we're happy with the deal, Microsoft has caved to all of our requests, and we approve the deal, and then the next day the CMA says, well, under those same facts and our law is the same, we block the deal. No court is ever going to uphold that, and the CMA knows that. So what I actually expect to happen is the CMA pushes their date forward and tries to beat the EU to the punch, and they want to approve it first so they can be the guys who got the concessions from Microsoft. Everybody ignores the fact that the US FTC is by far the most politically motivated of the three, and the commissioners there are all aspiring to higher office. So all those people are going to jump and trip over themselves to try to get in front of the EU and CMA and approve the deal. So I would say the month of April is going to be exciting because you're going to get announcement after announcement after announcement. This deal is happening. It's closing. What the UK did that was stupid was they said, if you license to Game Pass, you have to license to PlayStation Plus on the same terms. Mm-hmm. How do you come up with those terms, right?
Yeah.
And so do you say, okay, we want $10 per user per month for Call of Duty? I mean, you can say that, right? But how do you really know what the license is? And if Sony says, no, we're going to give you 5 cents per user per month, well, no. So it's really hard in streaming as opposed to one or the other gets the rights like it is with Friends or with The Office. Only one streaming service can get it. Microsoft's not going to let Sony have it exclusively. So that's the problem. And that's why Microsoft's just saying, screw you, Sony, no. If you want to play Call of Duty on the PlayStation, $500 up front, 70 for the game, and $5 a month for PlayStation Plus, just so you can play multiplayer online. So we're going to charge you $10 a month more than the PS Plus price, no console, no game purchase. That's a pretty good deal. And you get 200 other games too. That's a pretty good deal. So it's hard for any regulator to say, oh, putting it on Game Pass lessens competition. It doesn't. It increases competition by eliminating the need to purchase a console. I don't think Sony's being smart at all. If the UK says, okay, you offered Sony the contract good enough for us, we approve the deal. And if Sony says, no, we're going to reject the contract, we want better terms, Microsoft will go, great, keep it off PlayStation. So Sony's been offered the best offer they're going to get. If you want to say they're smart because they took what was a 3-year contract and got it extended to 10, that's great. Okay, yes. But thinking that it's going to go to 12 or that the price is going to be different, no chance. No chance whatsoever. Sony's whining, though, which really pisses me off, is they've been whining about exclusive content on Xbox, and Microsoft's already conceded that. There won't be any. So I got Mortal Kombat for PlayStation, and it had Kratos as a playable character exclusively on PlayStation. And of course he was, because he's a PlayStation-owned brand, so of course Kratos is. But it's like, where was Microsoft there? Saying, wait a minute, we want Kratos playable on our game. Like, no, because they're not whiny little babies like Sony is. So, I mean, the answer is Sony pioneered, exclusive and timed exclusive content, and now they're whining about it. It's great for us, number one. It's bad for anybody who's number 2 or number 3 to get it. So we're going to complain. They really ring hollow. Their complaints just actually have no legal merit whatsoever.
Thank you so much again to Michael Pachter for joining me. You can check out the full interview right now in the description below. And if you like my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell to know when it goes live. That interview went live immediately for the members. So members, thank you so much for supporting and getting early access to that video. I really appreciate all of you. If you want to become a member, click that join button right down there. My brain isn't working right really good. If you want to see what Foss Patents had to say about the Activision Blizzard case, you can check out that full interview right there. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.